Let's look at how to set that MVC build views property. Here in my master page, I'm going to intentionally introduce an error. So I'm going to leave the S off of my logon status extension method. And there's a red squiggly here that tells me there's an error. But if I don't have that view actively open, I'm not going to be aware that there's a problem. Even if I do a build, Visual Studio tells me there were no errors, there were no warnings. We built the project, everything is ready to run. The truth is I actually have an error inside of that master file. So one way to catch that at compile time is to set this MVC build views property to true. In order to do that, what we have to do is actually edit the csproj file that is behind this MVC application. And the catch there is that in order to do that, I first need to unload the project. And if that project is the only thing in the Solution Explorer window, Visual Studio will not give me an unload project option. So you need at least one other project or a solution showing before you can unload the project. What I can do if I only have a single project here is to come into Tools, Options, come into Projects and Solutions General, and I'm going to select this checkbox for Always Show Solution. Once I do that, then I have a solution node in my Solution Explorer window. I can right-click MVC Best Practices and I can select Unload Project. Once I do that, I can come back and right-click it again, and this time I can edit it. So I'm actually going to edit it as an XML file. It's just a csproj file, which is an MS build file. Everything is specified in XML. This is the MVC build views property. It's false by default. I can set that to true. A little later in the MS build file, you can actually see the piece of code that impacts, and that would be right here. This is an after build target, which means once the C# compiler is run and compiled all our C# code, this is something that's going to run after the build. It's going to run the ASP.NET compiler task in MS Build, and that runs that ASP.NET compiler command line tool. But this only happens when MVC build views is true. We have that set now, so I'm going to save the project file, come back and reload the project. Now when I do a build, it's going to take a little bit longer because the ASP.NET compiler is not the quickest compiler in the world. But you can see now I have hard errors that tell me there was a problem in my site.master file, and it can tell me exactly what the problem is. It does not contain a definition for logon stata. So I should be able to locate that problem in my master file, fix it, save the file, build again, and now we're back to 0 errors. And this time we know we don't have any errors that would prevent our view from running.